Hello friends, welcome here to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to do this adorable Christmas ornament. It's a tiny little wreath. Can you even see it? Well, maybe let's have a close look. There it is. Really tiny and adorable. So if you have a very small Christmas tree, this would be ideal. To make this tiny little ornament, I am using cotton thread yarn size 10. Okay, this is Aunt Lydia's. And I love the green. This green here is such a Christmas tree green. Very nice. And I will use red to make the bow, which is made by me as well. It's simply made chains, 100 chains. The hook I use for this one is a 2mm steel hook. If you prefer using a smaller one, I usually do use a 1.5 for crochet thread work. But for some reason on this one here, I felt that a 2 was just a bit better. It kind of, because the stitches are so close together, it kind of looked nicer when it was a little loosier. To weave in the ends, I'm going to use this needle here. This is a needle meant for cross stitch, has a dual point and a very tall eye. I will also stiffen this a little bit at the end so that it has a bit of firmness. Otherwise, it's a very mushy, very soft little something. So you want this to be a bit more outward like that. The ends tend to roll in too much. So stiffening it will be great. I use Stiffen Quick by Eileen. This is a spray. I will use these pins to put this on a styrofoam board. So let me show you what the styrofoam board looks like. Alrighty, this is the styrofoam I'm talking about. I will pin this on the styrofoam board and it will dry a couple hours and then your ornament will be the way you want it to be. And if you haven't already, check out this other ornament I have on my channel as well. Super cute Christmas tree. I also used cotton thread size 10, same hook, same way stiffening. And I used this Christmas tree to design my t-shirt because after all, it's always crochet season. So if you like this t-shirt, maybe a mug. I even have a sweatshirt with this design as well. It's all linked for you in the descriptions below, so go ahead and take a look. Thank you so much for watching here today. Go ahead and let's make this. Let's get busy. If you finish it, just go ahead and share a picture with me. You can do that on Facebook or on Instagram. Facebook, I have a group you can join. Instagram, you can tag me and then I will see it. So go ahead and find those links in the descriptions below. If you're not on social media, then send a comment here on YouTube. I would love to hear from you. I hope you enjoy this tiny little thing and Merry Christmas. Let's get started. You need a foundation chain of 10 chains. Start with a initial knot. This is how I do my initial knot. I make a loop here, hold tight with middle finger and thumb, and don't let go for 3 chains. 1, 2, 3. Hold at the top, let go here, pull the string. And now here you have one initial knot and a chain. If you have a different way of getting to this point, that's fine. Do what works for you. There's other ways of doing this, but for me, this works, okay? So there is 1 chain. We want 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There is your 10 chains. Join with a slip stitch to the very first chain. And you made a ring. Now I'm going to do 18 single crochets into this ring. This tail here, I like to single crochet it along. So I'm going to hold it in the back there. And as I do my single crochets, it will be under them. So just keep holding it back there. And then later on, you don't have to weave it in. So round 1 starts with a chain. 18 single crochets into the ring. So I'm going to do a couple here and then I'm going to let you do the rest on your own. There is 2. 3. So keep bringing it along with you. 4. 5. And so on. 6. So do that until you have 18 single crochets into this ring. And then we meet when we join. And there's my 18 stitches and it looks like a ring. Let's join this. Here it can be a little fussy on seeing where to join. So look carefully here. If you simply see the next stitches coming, The one that looks like a chain right here, see? These two, that's where you join. And join there with a slip stitch. Good. Now from here, round 2 is starting, and we chain 3. 1, 2, 3. You're going to do a double crochet on the same spot you joined, right there. From now on, you're going to do 2 double crochets on every single stitch. So here you already have 2 because these chain 3 here count as a double crochet. So that is 1 and 2. Now go ahead and do a 2 double crochets in every single stitch. So that will increase your stitches on this round to 36 when we are finished with this round. So let me do a couple more here. And when we get to the end of this round, again, we will meet to do it together. There we go. So do that all around. And I have 34 so far, and I have one more stitch to do 2 double crochets, and that will make 36. So make sure that you do count around here to make sure that 36 are here. Remember, this one counts as your first double crochet, so count all around. I did mine already, and you should have 36 double crochets. Now we join. Here you made that chain 3. Remember your first chain 3, you join at the 3rd chain. There is the first one, second, and the 3rd right there. That is where you join with a slip stitch. There. And round 2 is completed. Let's start round 3. Chain 1, single crochet in the next stitch. So that would be right here. Single crochet. Chain 2. Skip 1 stitch, single crochet on the next one. So that is your sequence right now. Single crochet, chain 2, skip, and then a single crochet, chain 2, skip, and a single crochet, and so on and so forth. So do that until the end of the round. Make sure that you do skip a stitch in between each single crochet. It's important. So let me do one more skip, and please now work on your own while I work on mine. I'm almost at the end of the round here, and by now I do have 17 chain 2 spaces. I want a total of 18, but stop here and count if you got 17 so far. So go back to the beginning here and find your chain 2 spaces. So there is 1, 2, 3. Count them all around until here. You should have 17 by now. And then we're going to finish up this round here by doing 2 more chains here and joining, which will make your 18th chain 2 space. So where do we join? Right here by this single crochet that you started earlier. There was a chain 1 here, which we ignore, and then right there on the single crochet, join with a slip stitch. And this finishes round 3. Let's begin round 4. Chain 1. From now on, you're going to be working into the chain 2 spaces, and there is a sequence that you will have to follow that repeats itself on every single chain 2 space. What you do is the following: slip stitch, and then 2 double crochets in each chain 2 space. Then go to the next chain 2 space, slip stitch, 2 single crochets into the chain 2 space, and repeat the sequence until all chain 2 spaces have been completed by the sequence of slip stitch and double crochets. So I'm gonna do one more here, slip stitch, and 2 double crochets here. All right, there we go. Do that all around, and when we come to the end of the round, we will do it together. And here we are at the end of round 4. So let's finish up one more chain 2 space, which is a slip stitch, 2 double crochets there, and now we join. Now here you can pretty much join anywhere. Looks kind of like nice right there. Join with a slip stitch there. Good. Now it's done. Now go ahead and cut, pull through, and weave in the end. This one here, because I crocheted my beginning tail here into the ring, I can just do that and it's done. See, it was already weaved in. Now this one here, with a needle, I'm gonna go and weave it in. So I like to use needles that are for cross stitch. So they have a big enough eye and a dull point, because tiny thin needles to sew will not do, because you will not be able to put this into the eye. So this one is a nice wide opening. Now tapestry needles will be too big, so you know. I often use tapestry needles to weave in when I'm working with worsted weight yarn. See this big fat guy? This is too big. So you gotta have the needle that's meant for cross stitch. All right, so let's look into what is the right side and wrong side, because at first it looks like it's all the same, but you know, I tell by where I snipped off. There is my little tail, because it was in the back, and also the back of this looks just a little flat. It looks kind of not right. I don't know how to express it. Here it looks like just like it's coming to you, right? It's beautiful. It looks just how it's supposed to be, right? So then from here, see that my end is at the edge. I like to bring this inward and hide this towards the center here. So simply find loops where you can insert, and don't pull too tight, just a little tug, and then another one. All right, and then go from here sideways a little. So yeah, it doesn't have to be like a huge deal. I like to tuck them into the base of the double crochets. It will be hiding nice and good. So there isn't really like a formula here that works like perfectly. Whatever really works to hide it is good enough. There we go. Okay, all done. Now that your wreath is all done, it's time to make the bow. I made the bow here with red cotton thread, and I just made a chain of 100 chains, and I chained them very tight. So it could vary for you how many chains you got, as long as this is about from where you started your chain to where you ended your chain, that it is about 12 inches long. Okay, I used for this chain here a smaller hook. It was a 1.5, and I chained it really tight. I wanted a very tight chain. Now here's a suggestion for you. Before you put the bow into the wreath, you might want to stiffen this a little. For me, I like this soft like this, but depending on what you might use this, you might want this a little bit firmer. Here's my styrofoam and my pins, and let's stiffen the wreath. I'm going to use here Aleene's Stiffen Quick. This is not a very concentrated stiffener, so it's not going to make your ornament very brittle. But the more you spray, the harder it will be. So I don't want it too hard, just a little bit of firmness. So I'm just gonna spray it so that's a bit wet from the front and the back, and that should be it. So let's shake it, and I'll hold it in my hands and just spray. There we go. So kind of make sure that it goes into its fibers. Kind of massage it a little bit like that. Yeah. And then turn it around. Do that again. And that is it. So if you spray more and more and more and more, it will become more brittle. It's sometimes to the point of becoming a bit ugly. So you want to be careful with that you don't overdo it. And if you want something very hard, then go for the glue. Go for it. Spray more. Now that it is nice and wet, I'm going to put it into my board. And this is not a very fussy shape. It's round and its sides and edges don't go all over the place, but some other shapes, they do that. So you usually have to kind of like make sure that you pin it perfectly, because anything that you don't fix now can't be fixed when it's dry. It's kind of like not reversible right now. If you take this and wash this, yes, it will dissolve, it's stiffening, and will almost become the same as before, but not 100%. So just know that once you put this product on it, it never really turns back to its original softness if you do wash it. And now that it's pinned, I just go and spray 4 more times on it and let it dry. It takes just a couple hours. If you have a hair dryer and want to blow it and make it a bit faster, that you could do that. But here, I'm just going to leave it sitting overnight. That's what I'm going to do. And doesn't even need that much, but since overnight we don't do anything, might as well, right? So just also understand that if your climate is a bit more humid, it's going to take longer. And if you're in dry climate, it's going to go faster. So let's wait and see. And here we go. The ornament is now dry, so we can take the pins off. And yes, I just left it drying overnight. That's enough. And as I mentioned, it will be a bit firmer, just so it keeps its shape nice and steady. All right, so let's work on bringing in that chain that I made so that we make a bow. So let's put the bow into it. So here again, I have that needle that is meant for cross stitch, and I'm going to put this string in there, and it will kind of stop me here. So definitely, when you do your foundation chain, leave a good tail so you have enough to hold on to it and it doesn't run away from you. Look at your wreath now and find the right side. So this is the right side facing to me, and this is the wrong side. Now you're going to start from here inwards. Pick any hole and leave a tail, hang on, of the actual chain of about 5 inches, more or less. Then hold on tight here and come in to the other side and out. Come in and keep doing that all around. You don't have to tighten this. When we get to the end, if the strings, if the bow is not exactly even, we will even it out. But 5 inches on each side is more or less what it takes. It depends also on the size of your chain. Make sure that your chain is about 12 inches, remember? And then come in and out until we get there. I'm gonna do the whole thing here with you. I already love this red and green to this. It looks just so Christmassy. Oh, I love Christmas. And then here's the last one. Perfect. And it always does this where this tail ends up way longer. I don't think this was 5 inches. I guess I misjudged that. I just eyeballed it, and definitely that's not 5 inches. That's like 3. So if that is the case, then do it this way. Look. Pick up your long side here, and then, so this is the long, the part at the side that's too long, and just pull this up a little, not too much, and then find the other side, and then keep bringing that until we get all around. It should more or less even things out, you see? So that's how you then make sure that the bow will look even. Okay, let's see if that's better. That's about right. It's a little off, but you know, that's okay. Just pull it a little maybe. If you pull, it will wrinkle the wreath, so you don't want to pull too much. It looks good enough to me. I like it. See, the ends are pretty much meeting. So here is my 2 parts, and I bring it like that. Good. And then from here, make a loop here, over and in. There. If you have a better way of making a bow, fine, whatever works. That one went a little too long. Okay, so then from here, yeah, you have to decide how long you want it. And there we go. These ends here, what I do, I just cut them short, not too much, not too little, just kind of close to the end. And there we go. I think my bows look a little too big. So you go adjusting it according to what you want. Now for you to make the string that you will be able to hang this on, you can make it with this, with a foundation chain, but you can also just go to the store and get hooks or special yarn, special thread, things that's a little heavier weight, and do it that way. So I like to do it this way as well, just so you have 100% handmade here, just in case that's what you want. So I just simply go at the top of one of these clusters here that I made, and I have my string here and bring it through. And then I foundation chain a whole bunch. I don't know. Until I never counted. I just go more or less by how long I want it. Right? So see, I'm making a whole bunch of them so that when I join it, it would look like this. I think it could be a little longer. That's about it. And that's about right to me. Could be longer still, depends. And then here I will join. See, this is where I started. So find the neighbor here and join. And that is it. Okay. Now, the only thing with doing this way is like you got 2 more strings to weave in. Right? So the weaving in process here is just the same as I showed you when we finished. Use that tapestry needle, bring it this way. So I'm going to do one here for you, and then you will do the other one on your own, and your ornament is completed. There, so kind of find its back side. Again, I always aim for the bottom of those double crochets. They just seem like can't go wrong down there. All right, and that's that. So weave in the other one as well, and it will be complete. There. Very good. Looks nice. Okay, so if you made it to here, let me know how this tutorial went for you, and send me a comment and like this video, and also share on my Facebook group. Join there and share one of these beautiful things made by you. I want to see it. You made it. It's important. Yes, so enjoy the process and Merry Christmas. Until the next project.